Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Let's take a look at the charts. This is the weekly chart going back several years, and the point I like to make here is I can go all the way back 3 or 4 months. Sell signal below the 449.28 rising channel bottom that indicated its sister formation at the more significant one-year channel bottom at 354.65. That was considered a 2 to 3 month target. 2 months later, we tagged it following the testing of 354.65, anticipating upward rotation to its sister formation once again at 449.28. And that has played out as anticipated, of equal strength, of equal significance. 449.28 is a descending channel top at 448.95 that for all intents and purposes did contain buying pressures several weeks ago. It is the upper 440s resistance, sellable resistance. You may be short already. And maybe you've been short for a few weeks following the testing of this area. We tested it again last week. And bearish rotation back to 354.65 is the big picture possibility. I know most of you are not in that 2 to 3 month category. Most of you are day traders, 3 to 5 day and 3 to 5 week swing traders, in those demographics, roughly speaking. But if you're looking at the big picture, and that's worth including, regardless of your time horizon, because I do think as long as we're below the upper 440s and we push into this zone, the emphasis still remains to the downside, to not being long, to perhaps playing the short side back into the mid 350s within a couple of months, where we could actually bottom out quite possibly through the rest of the year and continue up again to the channel bottom, even up into the 540s by the end of the year. 542.91 is a 6-year rising channel top, stems off the 2020 low that I consider attainable by the end of the year and expected within 2 to 3 months of closing the week above not only 448.95, but also, of course, that 449.28 formation. Then I think within 3 to 5 weeks, 498.83 is likely. Within 2 to 3 months, 542.91. Now, nearer term, we have a channel bottom that we closed below on Monday, and we came barreling back on Tuesday to close just above it, but it is climbing at a pretty decent pace. In other words, is the sell signal still intact, anticipating the low 380s? And that's what we've been outlining. And I think by a hair, you can say yes. But I will also say that if we, for instance, open above 425.50, I see that as a sign to exit a short position right out of the gates. If we open below 425.50, and certainly if we open lower on the day, we can continue south from here. So we're at an important pivot point. We did close just above it, but I think it was by less than a point. It was like 70 cents or something, which is like in the realm of error, if you will. Or the realm of what I call it the elasticity of line studies. The rubber band stretches, has it snapped to the upside, and I think that has happened with an open today above 425.50. Then I would expect 435.52 intraday. That is the low of the high that was put out last week. That could be it for the day, but I will say if we clearly settle above 425.50 today, which would also, of course, be above yesterday's high of 424.42, we are likely to continue onward and upward over the next 3 to 5 days to 446.17. That is the same descending channel top that we find on the weekly chart at 448.95. So if you're looking for a 3 to 5 day swing trade to the upside, opening above 425.50, is that signal enough? I'll leave that to you. That is an aggressive play. But what I will say is a settlement today above 425.50 is reverse and go long if you're a 3 to 5 day swing trader, then expecting yet another test of the upper 440s resistance within 3 to 5 days, where we could top out not only through next week, but even through June and fall away.
If you're finding
again.
value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVDA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Start your 2-week free trial and trade with clarity from day one.
Now, downside, if we open clearly below 425.50, that will keep selling pressures in play, at least for the day. 413.77 is a simple trend line off the lows. We did not test it on Tuesday, but it may well contain selling for the day, perhaps. If we do close below 413.77, if you're not short yet, and there is reason to be short right now, below 425.50, and I'm talking to 3 to 5 day to 1 to 2 week swing traders. If we close today below 413.77, that is really the other shoe to drop on that scenario. So closing today below 413.77 by the end of next week or sooner, 381.61 is likely, and that is part of a range that begins at 384.96, this descending channel bottom based on recent highs. This area well suited to contain weekly selling pressures. And if something can contain weekly selling pressures, it just might contain monthly selling pressures. I'd mentioned how 354.65 should be considered in reach over the next 2 months or so. But on the way down, you have these important price points. And of course, we are below one of them, or at one of them right now at 425.50. If we close lower on the day, clearly below 425.50, we remain in reach of the low 380s over the next week or two, where we could bottom out not only on a weekly basis, but even through the rest of June, perhaps. So really what I'm saying here is if you manage to play the short side into the lower 380s, this is a solid zone to not only take profits, but also consider reversing and going long as we move into July. I think it's worth that play. Of course, if we were to close below 381.61, which is a 5/8 downside Fibonacci from that April low to the more recent May high, if we close below 381.61, we are just another week or two from testing 354.65, this one-year channel bottom that held the selling pressures in late March beautifully and can continue to do so through the rest of the year. I do want to mention that on Tuesday, wickedstocks.com put out a stock pick on NewScale Power Corporation, symbol SMR. You might want to check that out. It's the kind of stock that if it throws off a buy signal, it can reach its 20% underlying minimal appreciation that we look for in all of our stock picks in a hurry. It's got that kind of volatility. We're not there yet. So when I mention these things, I'm not suggesting that you run out and buy. You're not going to run out, but you actually initiate a buy order. I don't recommend buying NewScale just based on the fact that we put out a stock pick. The stock pick outlines all the conditions necessary. They're usually very simple channel structures like I outlined here in Tesla. Closing above channel like this, as I've mentioned, would signal bullish continuation into July, August. And, we have a similar potential setup in NewScale you might want to check out. You can see it for free by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 2-week free trial. Just go through the payment gateway. You won't be charged for 2 weeks. You can bail at any time during that 2 weeks and not be charged at all. You'll see all of our analysis, including the daily NVDA report, daily SPY, daily Triple Q, weekly Apple stock, et cetera, and 2 stock picks every week. I am going to leave it at that for Wednesday's daily Tesla report, and you have a great day.